So, welcome again to Bodhicharyavatara, ninth chapter on wisdom. We are now at stanza number 88. We just went through, we are going through now the four mindfulness, discussing about the selflessness of the phenomena, and trying to investigate, trying to find out how the whole phenomena is. And this now here presented in form of four mindfulness. So we just went through the mindfulness of the body, where we examined, looked at our own body, a body of anybody, everybody, or anything, any material thing that exists. And through this investigation, we kind of have come to some logical or understanding that anything that we look at is something that is changing, that is changing because it is not existing on its own, but it's not one. It's many things put together, and all these different parts or many causes, conditions are there because of is interdependently there, dependently there, relatively there. So if you look deeply, when we say relatively, it means like, if you say this is short, is there something called short? There's nothing called short. The shortness is only related to, something else. If we think about this is a short thing, we are thinking about something longer thing, and then that's why it's a short. When you say this is beautiful, then also we are thinking about something less beautiful, so that it is beautiful. So anything that's big or small, and anything that we're thinking about, everything is relative, relative. Like how fast we are traveling is also related to, we think that that's, and how heavy it is. It's also relative to, it's totally, there's nothing there which is totally, truly like that on its own. So therefore, every form, any body, anything that we look at. So here in this case, we're talking about body more because, that's more personal, that's more experiential. So our body is also, it's a relative thing. It's a dependent thing. It's not one thing. It's impermanent thing. It's illusory thing. There's nothing called body truly existing on its own. It's a little bit like a dream body. So, of course, at this moment, it's very difficult for us to understand because we have such a strong, strong idea, strong kind of feeling or strong concept or strong, grasping that this is, the body is there, it is truly there, it's me, it's like that. But if you look deeply and slowly, look again and analyze and, and really properly try to think without our preconceived thoughts and habitual tendencies and our cultural way of looking, then we might find out that what the body really is. The more and more we can find that, the more and more we come to understand the true nature of reality. And what we call wisdom is that, wisdom is to really understand how things really are. Wisdom, as we described again and again, is, seeing or understanding or experiencing things as they really are. So when that happens, then, we are awakened. We get another way of seeing and experience things. And so therefore, all this, our way of reacting now, that, this is me and this, so I'm so afraid that something will happen to my body, I have so much attachment to it, I have so much aversion to all the negative things that might happen to that. All these things maybe become a little bit less if you understand the nature of it more. So that's why, these investigations are important. And this is not something that we just have to believe. Buddha says this is like that. The body is, is not existing truly. It's like illusory. So therefore, it must be like that. If I believe that, that doesn't help. That doesn't help because it's just, I'm trying to believe something that I don't truly understand and experience. Then it just becomes a belief, and that wouldn't change my basic way of reacting. But if I truly, deeply understood and found out from my own experience and, my own way, then my perspective, my perception would also change. And then, I would have totally different way of relating to it. That's why, from Buddhist point of view, it is necessary to study. It is necessary to reflect. It's necessary to investigate and not just believe. It's necessary to ask questions again and again and, look from all different aspects. That's why investigation becomes so important in Buddhism, So we a little bit talked about the body, mindfulness of the body. Now mindfulness is not just, allow our mind to relax on the body and just relaxing in that. That's one. That's also a good way. That's also important way of mindfulness. But here, to really investigate and try to understand and experience the nature of our body in its ultimate sense is also very important. Now we come to the second mindfulness, and that is the mindfulness of feeling. Now, feeling is very important because, we always say this from Buddhist point of view. Everybody in the universe, wants to be happy and wants to be free from suffering. We don't like pain. We like pleasure. We want to have happiness. We don't want suffering. And we have so much strong grasping to that, Anything that might be a little bit directly, indirectly, physically, emotionally, mentally, give me pain or problem or difficulties, then I hate that, And if anything that might give me some pleasure or happiness or joy or, something nice, we desperately want that and run after that. And that's what creates all the samsaric state of mind. So what is this, what is this feeling? So first we try to understand what feeling is and how that exists. So it starts with, if suffering itself is truly real, why is not joy altogether quenched thereby? If suffering is really, truly real and existing truly, as a real thing, existing on its own, then it should be there all the time, because it's real. It's existing on its own. It's truly there. So that suffering should be there all the time. But we don't feel suffering all the time. We don't feel pain all the time. Why not? And why not altogether quenched them? So there should never be any joy. There should never be any happiness, because the suffering is real and it's truly there, and it's in me, for instance. But if pleasure is real, then why all pleasant tastes not comfort and amuse a man in agony? So we say that, if my suffering is totally real, then it should be there all the time. Sometimes it's there, then it's gone. Sometimes it's not there. And sometimes the opposite is there. Joy is there, pleasure is there, happiness is there. At that time there is no suffering. So where is that suffering gone? The fact that suffering arises, suffering goes, joy arises, joy goes, because of causes and conditions. So all this suffering, joy, happiness, unhappiness is interdependent, is sometimes there when all the causes and conditions come together, and sometimes not there when one of the causes and conditions are not there. So therefore they are, not truly there. It's basically, illusory in nature. how we relate to something, how we see things, how we, how we look at things, how we perceive things. There's nothing called pleasure or the source of pleasure completely. There's nothing called source of suffering also completely. Because if that is there, this is what gives pleasure. Then, even when I'm in very big agony, that thing which gives pleasure should be giving me pleasure, but that doesn't give, Like if pleasure is real, then why will present tastes not comfort and amuse a man, So if I like, something nice, like ice cream or, very nice kind of food or sweet or something like that. And usually it gives me lots of pleasure to have that. But if I am in a very strong agony, very sad or very painful state of my mind, emotionally or physically, lots of suffering, then I wouldn't even want to touch that things, even if, and even if I have that, it wouldn't give me pleasure. Because, it's not that. It doesn't, that, nothing is truly, source of or truly, agent of pleasure. Nothing is truly, object of suffering. So both suffering and joy are relative, interdependent, dependent, created by my way of seeing, aversion, attachment. If I say this is very bad, if I start to think that this is very bad, then I feel it very bad when I have that. Same thing, if I start to see it's very good, then when I see it or when I have it, I feel good, I feel happy with that. So there is nothing which is truly real. And this is something important, because we usually think that feeling is so real, so truly there. This is 88, so I think I'll go through the Tibetan and then dungal tenye tu yue na jete rakala minu dena nyange donso la shimso jete gamisi. So this is the so I think I'll just stop there today. It's 88, and then see you next time. Thank you very much.